The house is now divided. We've got your resident Michigan fan, Marcus Two Raw, and obviously
got a lot of red today.
Well, you know, that's a smart thing to do. Sorry. And your resident Ohio State fan is JTG. Do you want to talk about Loxley or do you want to talk about the Combine first?
No, Combine first, because we're gonna spend some time on that one.
All right, so we got a little bit of Combine news. I feel great about how, well, actually, specifically JSN, because JSN is in a weird position where because of the injury, his stock has dropped as low as even possibly third round.
Yo, that is insane.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Here's the thing about rankings, recruiting, draft stocks, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's ran by human beings. So On3 just released their updated their On3 ratings for their players going into 2024.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take a guy like Luke Hamilton, Michigan commit, tackle. Was an On300 player, drops 200 spots. So he's unranked now. It is a 3-star. What could have possibly happened in between your sophomore and your junior and senior season that makes you go from a mid 4-star player to an unranked 3-star? Okay. You could say maybe he had an injury. Maybe he had a gigantic step backwards in his play on the field. Maybe he didn't start. Maybe something like that. What's more likely is that either that recruit and that recruiting service don't have a great relationship, or the relationship has soured, and now that reflects in that recruiting service's ranking. Now, we can sit up here and say, oh, well, you know, it's just recruiting rankings. You still have to prove it on the field. But when you are tagged as a certain level of player, that speaks to the level of opportunity you're going to get at any next level, whether that be from high school to college or from college to NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to discredit the rankings totally, but when there's so much stuff going on with these recruiting services, these are just companies.
Yeah.
Right? And every guy who's going in making these decisions are not football guys.
Well, even crazier than that, for going into college, obviously it's these companies. It's these On3, 24/7 Sports, people like that. Whereas when you go into the next level to the NFL, it's usually these Mel Kiper.
Thank you. It's even worse, right? Yeah. Mel Kiper and Todd McShay.
Yeah.
So Todd McShay gets on here and talks shit about JSN. Don't think that didn't assist in his draft stock falling the way it did. Now, he didn't play this year, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't play at all. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for better or worse, that is going to play a role.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is that we put so much weight onto what these human beings, right, who have biases, who have butthurt feelings about recruits not giving them the inside track, who have butthurt feelings about not getting to you know, be first to announce that a player is declaring for the draft or is going to accept the combine invite or anything like that. That happens. Mm-hmm. And then they get on there and they drag them through the mud, and it hurts their stock or it hurts their rating. So, like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Draft projections are great, but they don't mean anything. The minute that you are drafted, none of that shit means anything.
Yeah, like I said, I feel weird. 'Cause, I mean, I guess I knew his stock was going to drop a little bit, but like third round sounds absolutely ridiculous.
It's crazy,
for
man.
Somebody who we saw as the best receiver in the nation at one point.
Yeah. Look how crazy this is. The same people that are trying to drag down JSN's draft stock now, who are talking about him like he's a 3rd, 4th round pick now, are the people who are telling us he was the best wide receiver in America just a season ago. It's the same folks.
Yeah.
They just push whatever narrative is popular at the moment. Oh, JSN's popular? Best wide receiver in college football. Not so popular? Not a 3rd, 4th round pick. It's the same individuals.
And if I'm going to be honest, it reminds me a lot of last year when a lot of people said Jameson Williams was going to get picked super early and Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave weren't.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, now look at what happened. They both got picked literally 2 picks ahead of Jameson Williams, which Jameson Williams, in respect to him, he also got picked very high. So, like, you don't know really what to expect when you're listening to only people like Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, and those guys. Yep. With that being said, though, JSN combine results, his catching, his hands look great. Agility looked amazing. 3.93 second 20-yard shuttle, which is the fourth best by a receiver since 2007. And he also put up a 6.57 second 3-cone drill, which is the 12th best at the position since 2007.
Those were the things that we knew JSN were good at, though. Right?
Sure.
The quick twitch stuff, acceleration, deceleration, we knew he was good at that.
Route running.
People wanted to
catching.
see him run. They wanted to see what his top-level speed was.
Yeah. No,
right? We
agreed.
want to see if you are actually going to be able to separate down the field. Mm-hmm. We know you're going to be able to get this slot stuff, short or intermediate, over the middle. You'll do well because you have good twitch. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be able to get separation down the field against elite cornerbacks in the NFL? Mm-hmm. That's what they wanted to see the 40-yard dash time for, and he didn't run.
Yep.
Right, and that was the biggest knock on JSN, even when people were still saying he was the best wide receiver, is that he wasn't, breakaway speed.
I don't think his top speed is going to compare to, a lot of obviously high speed.
And that's
receivers.
obviously why he didn't do it. Yeah.
I don't think that ultimately should. Well, I mean, I guess it impacts every receiver. So in all fairness, it should, I guess. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, that's not the end all be all. And if you really look at a lot of receivers specifically, they're ultimately judged by their 40 time. And so it's a little unfair if your 40 time is not up there with the rest of them.
That's why he didn't run it. That's why he didn't run it.
No. Fair enough.
I'll be surprised if he runs one at the pro day. Maybe he does.
We'll see. DeJuan Jones, Paris Johnson looked amazing. So shout out to our offensive lineman. CJ Stroud throwing D balls and just.
What did he say?
Throwing
what?
Throwing a deep ball.
What did you say?
Throwing a deep ball, my guy.
Sound like you said D balls.
I said deep balls. That still doesn't sound that great, but he was. And he threw a couple passes to JSN, so that always looked great. CJ Stroud looks pretty good as well. I'm happy for my guys. I think we're going to have another good draft year. Maybe not as good as last time, but if CJ Stroud gets picked as the first quarterback, then maybe it'll look as good as last year.
Cool. Sounds pretty good, man. Except it was missing something. Like something was missing in your description of, all of the things that are going on. I didn't hear any record setting. I didn't hear any best in the combine numbers, or I guess Jaxon Smith-Njigba was best in the combine at the 3-cone, right? Just not in the 40-yard dash like DJ Turner. 4.27. Mozzie Smith, 34 reps, 225. 36 reps, sorry. 225. Most at the combine by any D lineman. Just strongest and fastest, best in class. Shout out to Ben Herbert.
DJ Turner's lucky JSN didn't register a 40 time.
Fam, he guarded DJ Turner and we got a dub.
Oh, okay.
He guarded Jaxon Smith-Njigba and we got a dub. And then he didn't show up. And then he went out there and was just, in the hip pocket of Marv the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Where you going? Lock up.
Now your dog wants to lock me up.
This is like a reenactment of DJ Turner and Marvin Harrison. Right.
Sure,
now.
But Marvin Harrison has that dog in him. I don't know.
No, it wasn't even. It was Will Johnson that was on Marv.
Oh, yeah.
He had Mecca. Yeah.
Well,
this is
again,
a reenactment
in either situation,
and
Mecca has that dog in him.
No.
Marvin Harrison.
Mecca. Your Mecca. That is DJ Turner.
Well, I have that dog in me, so it doesn't matter.
Anyways, I was very impressed with that. Like I said, best in class, baby, strongest, fastest. Let's do it again. I mean, I'm sure Blake and Donovan will both be running at the combine next year. Blake is going to be a sub 4.4 guy for sure. I think Donovan is too.
I think Donovan
is too.
Is Donovan not like straight away faster than?
Let's talk about this because I think it's interesting the evolution of how people view Michigan running backs.
I was going to say because I am not a Michigan fan, obviously, so I don't.
Well, yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
get to see it all that often.
Outside, even some of the inside perspectives sometimes do this. We had Zach Charbonnet. Right? When we had Zach Charbonnet, we had Chris Evans, we had Hassan Haskins was on that team. We were pretty deep at running back.
Yeah.
When Zach Charbonnet was there, people clamored for Hassan Haskins. Hassan Haskins is a more physical runner. You're going to pick up those short yardage. Hassan Haskins needs to be in the game. Hassan Haskins gets to start the next year, causes Zach Charbonnet to transfer out to UCLA, right? Then you have Blake Corum behind Hassan Haskins. Oh, man, Hassan Haskins is good. He puts up 1,200 yards in a season, and we win our first Big Ten championship. But I think Blake Corum is better. He's got that breakaway speed. He's that home run hitter. Blake Corum's going to prove that he's the better running back next year. So Blake Corum gets in. He dominates. He's running it up, right? One of the highest rushers, one of the highest rushing gainers in the country. He's on track. If he would have finished this season, he would have had close to 1,800 yards. He had 1,500 yards in 11 games. Right? What's the conversation? Blake Corum is really good, but Donovan Edwards is there. I think he's even better. So next year, after Blake leaves, if Donovan's still there, the conversation will be, man, Donovan's pretty good, but that Cole Cabana kid, I don't know. It's like this sliding scale. We always want the newer guy for some reason, even though the guy in the position is doing the job.
Well, I mean, you also do that with quarterbacks too. So
yeah, it's funny. But to answer the question, no, I think.
Oh my God, and receivers.
Yeah, we always do that. It's like the guy is there doing the job, putting up the numbers, and we asking about the next one behind him.
And tight ends. Wow.
So with Donovan and Blake, I think Blake, like lining up on a track, Blake is faster than Donovan.
Okay.
I think the difference that we've seen between Blake and Donovan and some of the runs that we've seen them do, Blake he's always going to advance. He's very rarely getting hit in the backfield. That was one of the tells that he was too hurt to play in the Ohio State game, is that he wasn't able to get his momentum going beyond the line of scrimmage. And that was a telltale sign for him, because this didn't happen to him this season at all. Blake is going to get you the 1 yard you need. He's going to get you the 5 yards you need, and then you'll probably break one for 50. Donovan, I actually hear Chris and Zach at Menace talk about this a lot with Travion Henderson. The way that he tracks his running path, he was doing this a lot early in the season. He always wants to bounce. Always wants to bounce. And he's trying to get there right now. Yeah. And it wasn't until he stopped doing that so much that he was able to get some of those longer runs that he's seen against Penn State, that we've seen against Purdue, that we've seen against TCU. He didn't start getting those until he got more patient. Yeah. Right? Blake Corum makes your offensive line better because he knows that I can literally stop. Right? I can come to almost a standstill, let my 330-pound offensive lineman hurl towards you, and then I'm going to get back up to that sub 440 speed. That sub 4.4 speed in like that, because that's the type of athlete he is. Donovan doesn't necessarily track that way. He doesn't necessarily have that type of vision yet. So that's why I still say Blake is better than Donovan, even though we've seen Donovan have some of the more spectacular games.
That's fair. I guess the way I've always looked at it from, again, really outside looking in, is Blake was the better all-around runner. Whereas I guess I just assumed for whatever reason that Donovan Edwards was just faster. But maybe that's not true.
He's explosive. He's prone for big plays. But then you're also going to get a couple plays where Donovan gets hit in the backfield. You're going to get a couple plays where he gets tripped up trying to bounce outside because he wants that explosive play. Yeah. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want the consistency? Do you want something that you can lean on whenever you need to get out of trouble? Or do you want the potential to go 80 at any given moment, given the bad plays that you have in between? I would much rather a
running back that can probably get at the very least 3 to 4 yards.
The consistency. Now, it's an embarrassment of riches to have both. But if I had to pick who is just the better overall running back, Blake's better in pass pro as well. And that's part of it. Right? So I would still say Blake right now. We'll see next season.
Kind of sounds like what we're doing with Trey and Mayan. But yeah.
See, Trey and Mayan, I feel like Mayan has proven more than Travion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Even given the exciting freshman year that they had.
I was going to say, yeah, he had a very exciting freshman year, and then Mayan show improved this past year that he kind of is.
But even
that
while
guy as
Trey
well.
was having his great year, Mayan Williams was right there.
Yes.
Right? Mayan Williams was not a slouch in
Not
2021. So to me, I feel like there's more of an argument there with Mayan over Trey than it is for Donovan over Blake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you talk about availability.
Yeah.
Right? Mayan is just flat out more available than Trey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I'll be excited to see kind of what happens with that next year, but we'll see.
Yeah. Mike Morris didn't test the best. I'll look for him to redo a lot of stuff at his pro day, try to help his stock back out because he was kind of teetering on that late first round, early second, and then it didn't sound like he tested exceedingly well at anything, at the combine. So hopefully he tries to fix some of those numbers at the pro day. I think DJ Turner ran himself into the first round. Mozzie, we'll see. I think he's rated as like the third or fourth D tackle.
I was gonna say I can't remember if he was a D tackle or edge. Yeah, he's got George's boy.
Yeah, you got. We'll see, and then what's gonna happen to him? Because that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, what is his name? What is his name?
Jordan Carter. Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. There you go. So
I'm thinking of Jordan Davis.
He ends up getting arrested because he was present the night that that Georgia player in the what was she, a GA?
Mm-hmm.
Got killed in that car crash.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that they were racing. Which
that's a tough.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That is tough. Which I'm sure he feels terrible about it. He's not a terrible person because of it. It was a mistake. Obviously, these are still young kids that we're talking about, man.
Yep.
Like 21, 22 years old.
Some under 21.
It's just that's tough, but he had to answer a lot of questions about it, I know. So depending on how his media sessions went, I don't know how steep his fall will be. Something like this coming out this late in the draft, I would say it has to affect it in some kind of way.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, not to be too morbid about it, but does a guy like Mozzie Smith kind of benefit from that and maybe climb if, some of the NFL guys are touting some of the character stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna say if they look at this and just don't want to deal with that situation outright, unfortunately, Mozzie Smith
I don't think
looks
there's
like
going to be a legal. I think it's a misdemeanor charge, but the controversy around it, will scare certain people away.
Especially going into a new organization. An organization might not want to deal with that just outright.
Yeah.
Whereas another player might look a lot more clean, which was it Mozzie Smith that had something happen?
Yeah, I was about to say, so maybe not Mozzie Smith.
I was going to say, I could have sworn
maybe
something.
Not Mozzie Smith.
But,
he got pulled over. He had a gun in his car.
That's what, well, I mean, again, well, first of all, people seem to have forgotten about that situation. And
because, both of these things are misdemeanors.
Yeah.
I think it's just more unfortunate for Jalen Carter, yeah, because of where it is. Yeah, timing. Yeah. Because when it's happening.
Yeah.
And I guess Mozzie Smith, he had his pleaded down to a misdemeanor.
And it wasn't that big of a deal to begin
it just wasn't. It wasn't a thing like, oh man, this guy might go to jail. Mm-hmm. Once we've moved past that, once you can get to know the kid and see if that's an isolated incident or if it's a pattern, we should be able to move on, especially when we're talking about the talents of those two guys.
All combine news seems like it's all good on both fronts.
Mm-hmm.
We're to your favorite story of the week.
My God, y'all. First of all, shout out to Mike Locksley. Shout out. First of all, he's either a petty king or he's the realest one in college sports. In either way, I'm down. I'm here. I have a newfound respect for Mike Locksley. You
won at this point.
He
won
I
the
have
situation.
A newfound respect for this man. He's either the pettiest man on earth or he's the realest. And I like it either way.
Yeah.
I love it either way. If I would have told you before this season started that Josh Gaddis was not only going to flame out at Miami miserably, I could have called that, right? But after, the one place that he could land in college football that would take him in would be Maryland under Mike Locksley. Fam, you can't create a better villain arc. You just can't. There's not a better villain arc in all of college football at all. Josh Gaddis, off the heels of leaving Alabama and going to Michigan to become the offensive coordinator, drags Mike Locksley through the mud. Said, I was down there calling those plays, and I coordinated the offense, and I. Right? Mike Locksley gets the head coaching job at Maryland, and, homeboy is
looking for a
job. Okay, well, you know what, Michigan? You're not going to make me the head guy while Jim looking for jobs. I'm going to go to Miami. Make more money. Mario Cristobal. Yes, sir. We on our way up. I'm going to talk shit about Michigan to the Miami players. I'm going to have sex with the recruit's mom. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And yeah. Flame the fuck out. Flamed out. Sitting in college football obscurity. Having your time out. Waiting your turn to get back in. And who rings your phone? Yeah. What's up, Josh? What up, Josh? So, I see things ain't going too good down there in South Beach, brother. Hear they about to fire you. You want a job?
Yikes.
Yo, damn, that is embarrassing. Fam.
That is a huge slice
That is
of humble pie.
embarrassing. That is embarrassing. Imagine having to go and sit at the feet of someone you had previously tried to discredit because no one else will take you. Oh.
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me, though.
Watch who you disrespect on your way up.
Yeah.
Because you might just end up working for them. This is exactly the Michael B. Jordan situation in Old Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And you know what, though? It wasn't just, I said he was corny in high school. No, like I continued to try to use my erroneous connection to him and call him corny on public spaces and other platforms before I even had a chance to interview him. Chick probably shouldn't even have the opportunity to interview this man since you running all over the place calling him corny.
Yeah.
And then had the nerve to say that you didn't say it.
Corny guy, right? No, I didn't say that.
So, like, it puts it in a different context for me because now I'm thinking, like, no, this nigga didn't hold on to that shit from high school. You've been saying this on your platform and others. Multiple places. It wasn't just, you called me corny in high school. You've actively been calling me corny now that you have the new platform that you have. You are lucky that you even got to speak to the man.
And that he was so cordial that he gave you an entire interview. And then you ended it with...
Hey, Joe Budden is a fucking loser, but we'll talk about that in Dubs and else.
Boy.
We're going to talk about that in Dubs.
Boy.
But yeah, man. That's amazing. Either way, I don't care if he did it just to watch Josh Gaddis toil under his thumb, for the next year or so. Or if, that's just who Mike Locksley is. And he can put a hand out to a man who was too stupid to garner a relationship with a former coordinator, a former teammate, and show him something. Mm-hmm. Like, look, you try to do it your way, get your ass up and come with me and let me show you how to really do it. I can appreciate either one, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is chef's kiss. Couldn't have wrote it any better. I couldn't have wrote it any better.
Big facts. Any other thoughts on college football this week?
Nope. Give us your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell us how your team's players did at the combine. Let us know. Come back next week for more House Divided content.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out our previous video on top 10 returning quarterbacks, as well as top 10 returning players for each position. And make sure you subscribe, because anytime we get any college football news, any more combine news, anything of that nature, we'll be sure to clue you in.